grows and becomes more prominent in business and industry, male and female, husband and wives are both working. They don't have the same amount of time. Everybody's in a hurry now. Years ago in Indonesia and Thailand, nobody was in a hurry. Everybody in Hong Kong was in a hurry, and Tokyo, but now Bangkok and Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur, everybody's in a hurry. Nobody has time to mess with these things. So what you're seeing is a growing emergence of businesses in signage and digital solutions, cleaning, home care assistance to take care of the elderly because you don't have time to do it now because the husbands and wives are working. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest growth areas in franchising in the next decade in this region. So keep an eye out for these service brands. The eighth trend is what I call the growth of health, fitness, and wellness franchises. So again, with the growing affluency, with the different mindset of the younger generation, you're seeing a lot of different types of health and wellness businesses. There's a lot of spa businesses that are growing in the franchise sector as well. 9 Round is one of my clients, 30-minute kickboxing fitness, unique brand set up by the guy who was the world champion kickboxing a few years back. Acumen Sports teaches athletes how to use their eyes and their mind to be better athletes. So it's cognitive training for aspiring or professional athletes. Snap Fitness, a small box gym, 24/7. If you can't go to them, they come to you so they get closer to home, as opposed to these big box gyms which need 6,000-7,000 square feet or more. They can't be so close together because their break-even point is much higher. So these small box gyms can get closer together and closer to the suburban neighborhoods where most people live. And Millennium Dance, for example, is the most famous dance studio in the world. It's from Hollywood. And they've turned their dance business into a franchise, and they're now growing that internationally. So it's about fun and fitness. And if you see my notes there, spas and beauty. I get 3 or 4 spas from around the world working with us or looking to work with us. I think that's going to be a big trend in franchising over the next couple of years as well. Trend 9, child-focused franchises. These businesses are often parent-driven or franchise-driven by parents who want to help their kids to stay fit. Many of them operate outside of the normal school curriculums, and the learning is often presented in a fun, different manner. So Southeast Asia per capita spends more, or Asia per capita spends more on education than any other region in the world. That's per capita. I think Singapore is one of the highest per capita spending on education in the world. You look at China, where you have traditionally a one-child policy, and the amount of money that a family spends on that one child. And so if you look at children's related franchises, big opportunity in Asia, everywhere in the world. We have a website dedicated just to children's products called frankids.com, and that's how much we believe that this segment is going to grow in the future. Just some of the brands there. BrainFit Studio is a Singapore concept, brain training for children, proven to increase children's IQs and their hand-eye coordination, but also their confidence and their ability to interact with other kids. Cul-de-sac is a concept. It's a playground eatery where you go in and effectively parents can socialize and their kids can get educated, have a good time. There's themes. They can have birthday parties. So it's a fun family dining and entertainment environment. Jump Bunch is a sports and fitness for kids concept where it's a mobile concept. It's a low-cost franchise where you can effectively take a franchise. You don't build a brick-and-mortar facility in a shopping center. You then set up programs where you go to schools, YMCAs, different venues, sometimes with parks and recreation, and you teach these events both indoors and outdoors in alternative venues. This is founded by a guy who had a child that was overweight. He said, "America, kids are getting fatter and fatter. We've got to do something about it." And his name is Tom Bunchman. So Jump Bunch is a hybrid of his name. There's a very fast-growing, very well-respected concept in the U.S. And then you've got Young Rembrandts, which is a concept which is teaching kids to be artists. And it's not about coloring with crayons. It's really about seriously teaching kids to be good artists. This is a concept based out of Chicago. The last trend is an amalgamation of a few trends. These are some of the others. The rise of mobile franchises. So convenience, people want more convenience. They want the business to be brought to the customer. They want something with lower overheads and something with more competitive prices. So these mobile franchises are really becoming popular. The Malaysian government has sent people all over Asia to look at mobile franchise concepts because they're trying to take their, I don't know if you guys know the word hawkers. So they've got their hawkers on the streets and in their wet markets. They're trying to industrialize them or professionalize them, and they're trying to create these mobile franchises so that these hawkers can become more successful, but also more hygienic and more organized and more easily accessible. And I'm seeing a trend like that across Asia. Another is casual and premium fast casual restaurants. So there's a big trend away from QSR. QSR in the region, I don't know how long KFC and McDonald's have been in Thailand, but they've been in some of the countries in this region anywhere from 65 years with KFC to 40 over years with McDonald's. They've been around a long, long time. And they really have become commodities in a sense. I know we got visitors from the Philippines here and from different parts of Southeast Asia. Now, if you look at the number of some of these QSR chains, they're in the thousands. And when you look at the prices, whereas 20 years ago, the prices made of a local plate of noodles might have been half of the price of a cheeseburger and order of fries. Now the prices of a local plate of noodles and a cheeseburger and order of fries are about the same. So it's become such a commodity item that effectively the competition for these QSR brands is local food. And the middle income A, B, C plus consumers in the family style European food. And then you've got non-traditional entrants. So you're getting a lot of businesses in the segment, the franchise segment, you wouldn't have seen before. Park Lane is the largest direct selling jewelry company in the world, based out of the US. They're now operating internationally through a franchise model whereby they sell franchises, and then the franchisor in the country builds the business using a quasi-direct selling model. So they realize that internationally they don't want to be a direct seller, they want to operate in their relationships as a franchisor. And then we've got a fantastic company from Indonesia called Archipelago International. I'm joined here with Mr. Norbert, who represents them. Archipelago is a hotel brand which manages 207 properties. More than 100 are operating, and another 100 are under development. And Archipelago is expanding in Southeast Asia and internationally through a franchise model where they can either franchise and you can convert one of your existing hotel properties, or you can build a hotel and operate one of their franchises. And so you typically in the traditional franchise sense, you wouldn't think of brands like Park Lane or Archipelago, but in the future, you'll see more and more brands like this getting into the franchise segment. And if you just walk around outside here, you'll see, again, many other brands that 20 years ago you would have said, I never thought that brand would be franchised. Just a little bit about who we are and what we do. We're World Franchise Associates. We're not an association, we're a commercial business. We're based out of the UK. We have offices in the Americas, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, the Middle East, Asia. I operate with affiliates in the Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Kuala Lumpur. Very simply put, we help brands and investors come together. So if you want to use the term matchmaker, then I think that's a fair term. We operate our own World Franchise Forums. We run our own events. We publish a magazine called World Franchise Review. We have an international newsletter called FranchisEX. We have a global franchise portal with more than 200 brands called World FranchiseCenter. We have a franchise event website that will tell you about all the events that are coming up in the future called franevents.com. And I told you about our frankids.com website, which is just dedicated to kids franchises. With me here at this event, I have some clients I'd like to introduce. Creno International is a Belgian concept design company which also owns and operates some of the concepts they develop. They've got Maison Mathis, which is a Belgian family restaurant, baked items and hearty and healthy meals. They've got Chogao, which is a traditional Asian concept with products from Thailand, products from different menu varieties for Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Indochine style food. And then again, we've got Archipelago International Hotels. They're promoting 4 brands. They have 7 brands in their portfolio, but the 4 brands that they're focusing on internationally are Aston, Harper, Fave, and Neo. So they're with me here at the event in our World Franchise Associates booth just outside. And then we've got these other great F&B brands that are looking for franchises in Thailand. So if any of those brands catch your eye, then come and see us. We've got QSR, we've got fine dining, candy, concepts, seafood, great variety. And then on the service side, these are some of the brands that are, again, with us looking for partners here in Thailand. So hair salons, fitness, cleaning, jewelry, sports education, signage, dance, just to name a few. And again, as I said, we represent 200 brands, all of which, when they look at a country like Thailand, I think would be very keen to develop and operate here. So that's it for my presentation. If you'd like to ask me some questions, I can field questions for 5-10 minutes if you have anything you'd like to discuss with me. If you are shy and you don't want to ask me here, then I'll be at my booth for the next 2 days, and I'd welcome anybody that wants to come and talk to me to come in and sit down and ask me your questions in that format. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, are you sure nobody wants to ask a question? Please. Here's some questions for you.
So my question is there any research that says how customers respond to a franchise operation as opposed to a formal company?
With the same brands?
Sorry, my question was, is there any research that says that customers respond differently to a franchise business and its offer compared to, say, a global, say, like Walmart, as opposed to a franchised operation?
I think there's a couple of things to consider here. I'll talk about with the same brand. And there's no one single answer to your question, but there are brands which operate in both a company-owned and a franchise model. So let's say a burger brand, just for argument's sake. And the brand has, let's say, 50% of their units are company-owned and 50% of their units are franchise-owned. And the research on some of these brands shows that on a whole, the franchise-owned outlets rate higher in the eyes of the consumer. And what you know from that brand is that they have selected very good franchisees, but that their operating system and their leadership at the operating and marketing level in their business is not as strong. Now, in theory, a franchise owner has his blood, sweat, and tears in the outlet. And by right, you should see a higher level of operation in a sub-franchise business than a company-owned, because the owner of that business is more dedicated than the manager in theory. So that is a pretty common trend, but then there are also the complete opposite. We have a franchise system where the franchise segment operates more poorly than the company-owned segment. One of the reasons that you find that happening is that in some cases they haven't selected the right franchisees, or the profitability of the system is not strong, and so the franchisees are not generating enough money to make their get a return on their investment. They're not satisfied, so they're either nickel and diming it to try to bring costs down and affecting the system, or they're just not motivated about the business because they're not generating what they expected. So you really can see two different scenarios, and it's not segment driven; it's brand and company driven more than segment driven. And then on the broader question of would a system that's 100% franchise with one company unit do better internationally or be rated higher than a system that has 100% company owned units? I'd say again that can vary depending on the brand. But I would say that there are very few, when you really take a good look at 100% company-owned models, I mean, outside of Starbucks, McDonald's, in fact, McDonald's is doing quite a bit of franchising internationally now. There are very few people that have grown internationally without using franchising, so there's not a lot of parity in terms of basis of comparison. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Just curious, it seems to me that most truly international franchise brands are of Western origin. But do you see a vice versa trend? Do you see Asian creations are now making a hit in Europe or in the US?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, traditionally, franchising was coming from the west to the east, from the north to the south, and that's just a function of global economic circumstances. But I think that more and more, you see Asian brands, Australian brands going to Asia. You see Asian brands going to America, and I think that trend, although it probably wasn't in my top 10, it would be in the top 20. What I'm seeing, particularly in Asia, is cross-border development. Lots of Singapore brands coming to Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, and you're seeing a lot more Malaysian brands and Thai brands in Southeast Asia.
I see this in Jakarta a lot in the malls, that more and more Western brands are being replaced with Japanese and Korean brands and stuff like that. I find that pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good point. Your Japanese and Korean concepts and food and culture with the younger generation are very hot. I mean, I have 3 adult children, so I can tell you that they're into the Korean songs and music, the dramas, the Japanese cartoons. Whereas 20 years ago, kids, Western kids and I think Asian kids had a different mentality. It was all about Hollywood and the West. So that is a very good point. The number of Korean brands. If you go to the Emporium shopping center here, and you go to the food hall and you walk around, the number of Japanese franchises and Korean franchises is pretty staggering. So, and again, it's a cycle. I think you'll see more and more Asian brands develop strength in their core markets. And also become more saturated. As the markets become more saturated, the pressure on them to grow outside their core markets increases. So that's another factor. Exactly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Franklin, for your presentation. Now we are going to move on to the next topic, which is driving market share through technology excellence at the core of your marketing strategy.